Hi, and welcome to Prepping Essentials.
Good morning, it's 7:30 on Saturday the 12th of November. Just making my way down to the land, and as always, not quite sure what we're going to get done today, but let's find out. Well, here we are down on the land. It's another grey, cool and wet morning. Lot of rain recently, lot. I was driving to a meeting, I think it was Tuesday, and it was like a monsoon driving down the motorway. Look at all these leaves. It's a sea of leaves. It really does annoy me. I really desperately want to get these picked up, but there's just no way. It'll be a bit of a short visit, I'm afraid, today. Lots of stuff to do, but not much I can do here, and I'll explain why that is shortly. But then I get opened up, get the kettle on, might need a bit of heat as well, and we'll have a little cabin chat. Well, good morning and welcome to another weekend. Wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. It is still a crazy world out there. Oh, where to start? Well, today I've given the petrol generator a quick warm through, diesel heater a quick warm through, and my little portable gas fire, just to make sure that everything is working as I expect it to if something hits the fan and I actually need to use any of those to get by and get myself through the day. And it is a cold day today, so the heat was more than welcome, as is the heat of the coffee cup. You can maybe see the steam coming off my breath. Temperatures are not great in here, I have to say. But I'm not going to be here for long, so I don't see the point in just letting the heaters run for the sake of letting the heaters run. So just checked all's in order with everything, and I'll put them back away again. At some point I probably will drag a little red tractor out as well, just to make sure that that's working okay. I really would love to get some leaves picked up, but it is really wet. I don't know, we'll see. I might, just for the sake of running it around a little bit, I might run it up the field and see what happens, but don't hold your breath. I'm not expecting it to cope with the wet conditions. No chickens this morning. Are you wondering why? Don't worry, they're all fine and well. I've topped up the water and food, and I've also given them a little bit of greenery. It is the weekend after all. But they're not allowed out. They're in lockdown. I think I've mentioned in a couple of videos that avian influenza, bird flu, has been working its way around the UK. Thankfully, touch wood, it's still not here in this area. It's not a million miles away though. I think the nearest one is probably about, I don't know, 20 miles, 25 miles. something like that. But there's that much of it now around the UK and indeed around the world that the UK government's put every chicken into lockdown. So I'm just doing my bit, following the rules, and they're not allowed out in the big wide world right now. We'll see how long that lasts. But that's having a huge impact globally, actually, not just here. Eggs are in short supply. Turkeys for Christmas, or for our American cousins for Thanksgiving, are in short supply. Just chickens, turkeys, other forms of fowl that we eat, generally in short supply. Lots of farms been culled around the UK. I did see an article from the US. I forget how many million it was now, but it was a lot of birds were killed. So that is having a dramatic knock-on effect on the global food supply chain. And that's really what I wanted to talk about today. It isn't about my chickens or bird flu per se, though you will know that I keep chickens for a reason. I mean, they're nice and I like to look at them, but there is a selfish reason for that, in that they do provide me with fresh eggs every single day. And at some point, although I do love my chickens, at some point as they get to the end of their egg production usefulness, and especially if we go into a long-term something hit the fan, they would be my source of meat, or one of my sources of meat. And it's that really that I wanted to talk around today, the subject of food, the variety of food, the availability of food, and the cost of food. Because there is, let me just reach across and grab the tinfoil hat. It would appear to me, to your average person, anybody who's actually looking at this subject, of course, not the ones that are the blind sheep and they're only interested in Instagram and TikTok celebrities or the latest video for, it seems to be a lot recently, young ladies especially, displaying their assets in little short TikTok movies. It should be obvious to anybody that the global food supply system is massively under attack from a variety of different areas. There is a massive globalist agenda to get everybody off meat and onto alternative sources of protein, and no disrespect to people who might be vegetarians or vegans. Everyone's perfectly entitled to decide what food they eat on a normal given day, what they want to put inside their bodies. Although having said that, government sometimes mandates what we should or shouldn't put in our body. And it would seem that apart from the 2021 and still in 2022 government mandates around certain things that you should put in your body, they do really seem to be on a mission to demand that people don't consume meat product. There's a massive drive in the media, and I've definitely mentioned this before, for alternative meat products. So alternative fake chicken, beef, pork, variety of different burgers on offer in the fast food outlets, so meat-free burgers. There does seem to be a huge drive by governments and the sort of New World Order elites to stop people eating meat. Lots of articles recently about the impact that this is having on farms, new legislation being brought in. This is not something that's new, this is something that's been talked about for a while, but it's kind of made the mainstream media recently, particularly in Australia, New Zealand, Holland. Not so much here in the UK, but those in power do have an extraordinary ability to control the media narrative. So they probably don't want those kind of news stories in the media and the public becoming aware of. They'd rather do it very, very subtly through advertising for food on the media, rather than stories about farmers going out of business because of these new rules around emissions and carbon footprint for farmers. So it's under attack by big government. Corporations don't really care. They don't care if they're processing real chicken or fake chicken, as long as they're processing something that turns a profit. So they're not interested in the ethics of this, the subject of meat. They're not interested in the livelihoods of farmers. They're not really interested in any moral debate about whether it's right or wrong to kill animals to produce food. The corporations don't give a stuff about that, and in all honesty, neither do the government. They just want to fulfil their own agenda for whatever reason that agenda has been brought about, whether it's political power or whether it's financial remuneration. They don't care why they do what they do. They just want to do it to you and me, the public. We've talked quite a bit about other threats to the global supply chain, whether that's weather. We've seen lots of examples, and I've seen lots of examples this past year of the impact on weather on the ability to produce decent harvests of food. The ongoing fertiliser and associated chemical shortages that are needed by farmers to maintain the fertility of the soil and to reduce the impact of pest and disease. So the threats are widespread, and I think I alluded to this in a video not too long ago. All of these things are combining and bringing us ever closer to that tipping point where we suddenly go off the cliff and descend into complete and total chaos. So yes, whilst there are lots of other problems going on right now that impact on us on a daily basis, energy, financial markets, jobs, take your pick really, there are numerous ones. I did want to focus on food today. Lots of reports in the media recently about potential for global famine. Lots of intergovernmental organisations and indeed governments themselves putting out stories into the media about shortages of food, potential for famine in less developed countries, and on the streets for me, you and the public. Prices have gone up that much that your normal support network of things like food banks are really under pressure. Less people are donating because they can't afford to buy food for themselves, let alone to give it away to charities. Governments aren't really interested. They'd rather send their hundreds of millions, if not billions of pounds to fund other things going on right now, particularly around Ukraine. So they really don't care about what goes on in your neighbourhood. They're interested in their political agenda elsewhere. So lots and lots of threats to availability and affordability of food. So I said as I was walking across the field, there are other things that I've got going on right now, and I have mentioned them in a a few previous videos recently, whilst there isn't a great deal going on here on the land or in the cabin, and I guess more so now with the chickens being in lockdown, because you never know, the possibility that we might be locked down for a number of different reasons is increasing. Whether it's a spin-off of the COVID virus that creates another lockdown, or whether it's a war breaking out, a more general war breaking out that has government putting us back into lockdown. There are lots of reasons why we might end up in a lockdown. If the power went out, I'm sure we'll all be locked down somewhere trying to keep bloody warm. So yeah, it's the chickens' turn right now, but don't discount the possibility that we ourselves might not be forced into some kind of lockdown over the coming months. So I guess the moral of the story today, or the theme of the cabin chat today, really is food. Get your food now. I am busy reorganising my emergency long-term food stores in the garage at home. I think I mentioned last week I've got some more racking, which will allow me to organise it more efficiently and visibly, so that I can at a glance see what I've got and where any gaps may be. I would encourage everybody to do the same thing. The days of my videos where I used to recommend different things to buy and store away, the days of cheap food are definitely gone. I did a little review of a few videos from a couple of years ago where I was showing you different kinds of canned meat and vegetables, different types of bulk grains, your flour, your rice, your beans, your basic prepper pantry stuff really. And I was struck by the prices, because on my earlier videos I used to say, oh, you can buy this for a can of spam, for example, for 99 pence a pound in these different shops, or you can buy your kilo bags of rice for 45 pence in these different shops, or 500 grams of pasta for 25 pence in these different shops. Scroll back and look at those videos and make a note of the prices, and then when you go to do your shopping this week or next week, just compare the prices. Those days are well and truly gone, and it is only going to get worse with inflation and the continuing rising cost of energy, which is used for everything in food production from start to finish. Those prices are only going to keep going up. So spend £1 today and save yourselves from spending £1.20, £1.50, £2 perhaps in a year's time. Invest whatever spare money you do have now and give yourself that little insurance policy for when it really does become unaffordable, or let's see what happens if the global supply chain suddenly stops operating again, as we've seen during the COVID crisis. That wasn't a one-off. That was, as I keep saying, the start. We've got a long way to go with all of these crises. So whatever you can do today and tomorrow and the next day and the next week, I would really urge everyone to do it and to keep doing it. Get your stocks built up. They're not going to go to waste. You will eat them at some point. And let's say in a year's time, your £1, as it used to be, tin of spam, it's at least £1.60 now, as I look around the shops. That can could be £2 or £3, or it might just not be there. Especially if this war on meat continues. You'll be buying cans of insects, or what do they call it? It's they have a name for this, alternative meat, I think they call it. It might be some other soya product or Soylent Green product, who knows? So food, today, do something about it. No matter how little it is, just keep tucking a little bit more and a little bit more away as you can afford it and as you go shopping. You will thank me for it later. Anyway, not much really to show you going on. I did pop a little clip in the community tab. The chilies, they continue to impress me. If I can find it, I'll put a clip somewhere here. I was harvesting those. Was it yesterday or was it Thursday? I can't remember. My world is a bit of a blur right now. But I'm stunned that it continues to produce chili pods and that those pods continue to ripen. It's even got some flowers, new flowers. So yeah, really pleased with those, and I will definitely continue. Somebody did mention it. I feel fairly sure that it was Heather, so hi to Heather, Jeff and Pink, about using those as a cash crop or a barter crop. I've been using them as a friend-making crop amidst wider friend and family, as I do with eggs and potatoes and other things. But yeah, things that you can grow that people like and might not be able to afford, or they're just not there. It's certainly something to think about. If you have spare capacity and there are things that are expensive, but you are able to produce them yourself, yeah, perhaps an alternative source of income or for barter. But yes, they do continue to grow. I'm definitely going to try and overwinter them. Potatoes still doing well. As yet, we've managed to escape the frost. We only had that one last week, that one morning where the windows and the car were iced. So fingers crossed, hopefully that will continue. It would be nice to have a little bit less rain though. There has been an awful lot this week. They did say, I feel sure it was only a week ago, they did say that we were due for a mini heat wave. Well, what the hell happened to that? It certainly hasn't arrived, because it is distinctly cool still in here. Anyway, I digress. So nothing much to show you. I will pull a little red tractor out to warm it through, make sure everything's working as it should. Whether I will or I won't be tempted to run up the field with it, I don't know. But the last thing I want is to get all the way to the end, turn around and see this ploughed furrow where I've sunk into the grass. But we'll see. Anyway, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, I hope you're staying safe and well and enjoying your weekend. Don't be disheartened, don't be scared with all of this stuff that's going on. There is nothing you can do, no matter how much you sit and worry about it. So why bother? Why stress yourself by worrying or panicking? Don't do that. Instead, kick back, calmly assess your situation, think about things that you can do. Look in the comment section on the various videos I put out. There are lots of people that drop in little nuggets of information about things that they're doing or things that they've seen other people doing that you might be able to do. But the one thing above all else, get your food stocks up and consider, it's not too late to start thinking about next year's planting. Think about how perhaps you could grow something for yourself and reduce your dependency on the system and reduce potentially the amount of money that you have to spend on food. Food, food, food. Mainstay of life. I'll catch up with you later. little red tractor never lets me down, bless it. I'll let it run for a few minutes and then I might just be tempted to run up the field just to see what happens. Well, a little red tractor's trying desperately to pick this up, but it's hard going. Well, it's pretty much as I suspected it would be. It's just blocking the chute at the back of the tractor. So good try, but no cigar. You can see where I've been trying to pick up. I got all excited at this bit. It seemed that it was picking up, but the leaves actually weren't that deep here. And you can see as I progressed into the bigger patches, bless it, it did try, but it's just churning up and it's literally just blocking the chute. I kept stopping and starting and stopping and starting, but it's clearly way too wet. So it was worth a little look just to see, but I'm going to have to wait until this weather changes for the better before I can make any impact on that. Anyway, lots of other stuff for me to be doing, so let me get little red tractor put away, get tidied up, get locked up, and it'll be time to go. Seems strange without the chickens. Well, that's it for today. Plenty to keep me occupied back at home, sorting out my food storage and other preps in the garage. It takes far longer than you would think it does, especially when you're trying to unbox. You always open the wrong box and end up having to do something completely different from what you'd intended. Not much activity around the hives. I think they're slowing down, ready for winter. I did see one fly in just then, but sod's law as I come up to it. Oh, there we go, there is one there just popping in. So they are still about, but obviously far less than they usually are. I didn't have any issues with the location last year, even though it was bloody cold from time to time. What I might be inclined to do is just put a windbreak around these. We'll see how it progresses weather-wise, but they were fine last year, so fingers crossed. If it does get really bad, then I will put some kind of shelter up, but I'm trying to resist the temptation right now. Leaves just falling everywhere. It won't be long now before all of these trees are bare. How are things with you guys? Do let me know in the comments section. Let me know what you're doing to see yourself through these different crises that we've got going on. Tell us what you're doing food wise. I can't emphasize enough the importance of building up long-term stores. The situation is definitely going to get worse. And even if availability doesn't decline too much, you just know that prices are going to go up and up and up. So buy it now while you can and save yourself a few pounds in the future and give yourself that little insurance policy just in case you suddenly go to the supermarkets and the shelves are bare. That's it for now. Stay safe and well. Enjoy your weekend and I'll catch up with you in the next video.
Well, that's it for this video. I hope there was something in there that was of interest to you. If you did like the video, please do click on the like button. Also feel free to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already done so. As always, I welcome any comments, questions or suggestions you might have. Just feel free to leave them in the comments section below. But for now, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video.